You guys have been back one day, is that correct?
Yes, we came yesterday.
Yes. So thank you for all that work. Your primary goal was to train pastors, correct, David? How many did you have?
Yes, we end around 68 pastors.
68?
Yes.
You were
That is
planning
pastors
on
and church leaders.
you were planning on 45, right?
Yes, that's what we were planning, at least 45. But the first day they came around 45. But when they heard the message that we are teaching, the number multiplied until we end around 68.
So they texted each other on their cell phones and said, "You've got to come." Is that basically what happened?
Yes. Most of them, they called their friends and the other pastors and told them, this is another teaching. I think you need to come to this.
Wonderful. So tell me, let's go day by day. What happened on day one? What did you teach, Ronnie?
On day one, we started with what we always begin with. That is the analogy, because we want them to the 9 and 6 analogy, because we want them to know that there are different perspectives to the same point. And the ones that are seeing 9.
For those listening who are not don't know the analogy, you're holding up a 6 or a 9, depending upon which way you look at it. So you hold it sideways, and one half on one side says, "Oh, it's a 6." The other half says, "Oh, no, it's a 9." And so it's just depending upon how they see it from what angle. So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Sure. I mean, so that that really prepares the ground for them to receive the message, because we know that most of them, what they're gonna hear is very new to them. So that really did amazing. And then we went into multiplication. Really, what we're trying to tell them, and again prepare them, that this message that you're gonna hear, we don't want it to remain with you. We want you guys to multiply. But we help them to know how to multiply, because most of them, they've been doing more of addition other than multiplication. So we began by the Jesus model, where he sets out to want to reach out to the world, and he begins with 12, and spends his 3 years with the 12. He prepares them to handle the masses. So after he leaves, these 12 are able to really go on and multiply and be able, to handle, because they are ready. And then we tell them that also the disciples knew this. Again, we dwell with in 2 Timothy 2:2, where Paul tells Timothy that what he has taught him, he should entrust it to the faithful men, and also the faithful men should go ahead and entrust to others. What we did different here is we made it more practical. We actually, David was doing this part, and he got one pastor and told him, "Okay, stand up. I want you to do 2 things. And this is the first thing that I want you to do. I want you to get out, get 2 people, and those 2, when they get out, they also come, and each of those 2 gets 2 other people. And then we are going to time this, and then we see how long it's going to take you to get all the people out of the church." So this guy gets out. I mean, it was fun, and it was pretty quick. It took only a minute and some seconds for him to really get all of these people out of the church. And he's like, "Okay, so here's the second thing. So you're gonna have to, to go out and get one by one. So you get one, take them out, and come back, get the other one, take them out, and let's see how that works." So this guy, I mean, he had to do this. By the time he got done, he was sweating, he was tired, he was exhausted. And I remember jokingly said, "You deserve a gift," and he gave him a bottle of water. and really, what was really touching is then to get to ask him, between the 2, which one was easier. And then he himself, he was like, "Oh, the last one was way harder. It took a lot of strength." And then we told them how long it took for both activities. And that was very amazing how then this drought, because now this was very practical. And I tell you, they kept on talking about that even the 3 days by the time we got done, because they couldn't forget it. They were all involved. So we got done with the multiplication, and also challenged them to be to either be a swamp or a river. And from that went into prayer, and they had to commit and pray for their Timothys, for the people that they're thinking about. And again, the key word is faithful. So they have to think about this, and that was amazing. So we got done with the first session, and we entered into maturing the bride. That is
day
the
two,
one
David?
entered into maturing.
Yeah, that's day 2. That when we started doing the maturing the bride, and the most part which was impactful was when we talked about them that would you like to have your son marrying a mature or immature bride, and they all said mature bride. And so we told them and asked them, why would you want your son to get a mature bride? And they said he knows what he is supposed to do. He has the respect. And so we asked them, then what do you think about Christ, about God? Does he need a mature bride or immature? And they were like, all of them, he needs a mature bride. And then we continued teaching on maturity. And when the time came for prayer, because they realized that I mean, they have been doing it wrong. And they said, I need to be trained. I think I don't know anything. I don't know the Bible. I need to be trained. And as you see now, a photo that I sent to you, pastors got into their knees and just cried to God. It was such a moving spirit of God when you can see men of God kneeling down and just repenting and crying that they have been living an immature Christian lifestyle.
That's beautiful. And so that all goes. What about day 3? Now, what happened on day?
We did
That was
day 1 and day 2.
Day 1
We
and day
did
2.
day 1 and day 2. Yeah, on day 2. That is on day 2. And it was easier for them to understand. I think the Holy Spirit moved in a powerful manner of revelation because they could understand like just like that. We teach them and they are like, yes, this now makes sense. This now makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, the last day, day 3, we did the 1 degree off. And I aim to use again the roads in Maasai community, likely because I know the area and they were able to get it. If you're just 1 degree off the course, you are not going to arrive where you are supposed to do. And then Ronnie asked them the question, what about 2,000 years ago? Could our Christianity have been 1 degree off? And it was amazing to see their face, or now they were amazed on the reason why Christ died. Ronnie, you may need to explain much on that.
Yeah, I think what was amazing is that before I started all of that, I asked them, we talked about the state of the church today, and we could all agree and reach to an agreement. These are pastors that the church is rotten, unfortunately. These are pastors. They know what is happening, and they're like, we are sick, we are rotten, we are about competition, we are about not liking each other, we are about who has the most. They know, and I think I asked them, do you think this was Jesus's goal initially when he was starting out, to have a church that is like? They're like, no, something has to be off. To have been off. Just like what David was saying, I mean, if you're just 1 degree off going to a shorter distance, it could be okay, but these are 2,000 years. It means that if we started off, we must be way too off. So then we went into the 1 degree off, and that was, that was amazing to see.
Is it also where you did the rope analogy?
No, we did the rope analogy day 2 when we're talking about the mature bride, that God is looking for a mature bride. Yeah.
Let me go over some questions here, because it seems like you guys did a lot of small groups. Is that correct? You broke them down into small groups?
Yes.
Yes.
And they found that helpful. I saw a lot of people, obviously you had to go outside. It was a hot day outside under the trees, but I saw they're playing games and they're laughing.
And now we'll sing a song, and when I say stop, whoever you have tapped on the back will have to say what he has learned that day. And it was amazing to see the old men with their lessons, and they are running around and laughing. I mean, it was so amazing. And this reminds me something else. As we were trained, it reached somewhere and we felt like it's not sinking enough. So Ronnie was speaking in English, I speak in Swahili, and Fred speaks in Maasai. So we were having like 3 language at the same time to make sure that this gets to the right bottom of their understanding.
And help me to understand, there was a video of a woman standing up and giving an interview. She was dressed in white. What was that about?
There is this special woman who stood up and said, although she was talking in Maasai, and she was telling Pastor Fred, when Ronnie was teaching, the Holy Spirit helped me and I could understand the English that Ronnie was teaching. I've never been trained, I've never been in school, but I could understand everyone that Ronnie was speaking. And so that was amazing to us to see how Holy Spirit can work even to an extent of unbelievable and uncommon things.
So, Ronnie, give me your biggest highlight.
Well, it's interesting that to me, all trainings that we do are different, and this one I can say it is my best training that I've ever done and that I've ever seen. And the biggest reason why is that when you're speaking and teaching, you can feel people pulling on you. You can feel when you're hitting a rock, but here you could feel whatever's being pulled on you. It's really going deep into these people, and this, most of the things that we find that in some trainings these pastors take long to understand. Here it was like, you mentioned this, they're like, oh, that makes sense. You mentioned one, but the other thing was sorry, the other thing was when these pastors are like, the 3 days are not enough. Now, when these people say that the 3 days are not enough, already the 3 days that you have been with them, it's a big commitment for them. Because it means that they have to leave everything. These guys walk miles and miles. So them coming every day and they're saying we need 5 days, because this is not enough. I think to me that was very outstanding in this trip.
And David, what was one of your biggest highlights or one of your biggest wow moments?
One of my wow moments was to see the host pastor, even though he is the chief, so he attended the first day. And he regretted that he did not attend the second and the third day. But on Sunday, he was teaching what he learned on the first day, which was multiplication and seeing the goal why God called us. And so it happened that we talked with several other pastors, and most of them, they were preaching about maturing of the bride on their services. So I was telling Ronnie, I think this is the biggest multiplication that is happening because they are not keeping it to themselves. They are moving now to the church. So if we are able to equip this, we are sure that it will multiply. And then we were looking for the Timothys that we can tag along. And the number there we got out of the 68, we got around 7 to 8 pastors who we think and we felt that they are serious in this and they have a call in this.
And so when are you thinking of pulling your Timothys out of these groups and having a longer training inside Nairobi?
We were talking of doing it April next year, so that the schools will be on holidays. So these pastors will be able to have time coming to Nairobi for 1 week advanced training.